call the meeting order. Have anyone invocation?
God, our Creator, we ask for your guiding hand to lead us through this meeting. We are gathered with the intent of doing good. Guide us in the right path to accomplish our goals this evening. Make our hearts ready to respond to your wisdom. May our efforts be blessed with insight, understanding, respect, and foresight for all whom we serve. We ask, Creator, for strength to act honestly and well in all matters before us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a couple of additions to the agenda tonight. I think the one at your table does have the additions under proclamations. Or under the items for a certain time, we do have an added award to be presented, and then we also have a proclamation to be added. Do you have those on your agenda copy?
So we got a total of 3.
3. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Moving on, we have a little change of our agenda schedule, so we'll go, bear with me. Next up, proclamations, recognitions, presentations, items scheduled at this time.
We need to do the recommendation, or we need to approve the agenda.
Oh, okay.
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
I have a motion by Christie. I have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We'll move on. Proclamations. First, award presentation to the Fire Department, EMS.
Hi, I'm Kendra Career, Director of Services for OCCK here in Concordia. Brandon Callahan is a coordinator, and Tracy Snyder is a lead trainer here in Concordia as well. In the past, while working with the police department, sheriff's department, fire and EMS, we've kind of struggled with them being pretty receptive, kind of helping individuals with disabilities. And so we would call to restore order, help with the situation. We get some pretty crazy comments, and I'm talking 11 years ago probably when I started, such as restraining them in a chair and just stuff that we don't do. So over the years, partnering with them, we have come a long, long ways. Tracy will now read what we sent to OCCK's board for the nomination. The board receives multiple nominations, so we were very excited that the Concordia first responders were chosen.
Each year, OCCK asks us to nominate people within our communities that make an above and beyond effort to improve our community by taking steps to make the community as inclusive as possible. This year, we nominated the Concordia EMS and Fire Departments, Concordia Police Department, and the Cloud County Sheriff's Department. We nominated these departments because in the last year, each of them have gone out of the way to meet with us and build partnerships to raise awareness about inclusion within our community. Each of these entities have done an amazing job within that partnership to be in communication and do education with the community and with the people that OCCK supports. Namely, we have seen a stellar effort from Ken Davis and Amber Lindberg, Amanda Waterman and Jeffrey Sacco, Andrew Allen and Levi Whitley, Rick Fredrickson and Rick Knudsen. So we would like to present all 3 of the departments with this award. The Sheriff's Department was able to meet with us at our banquet, and so was the Police Department, but the Fire Department was unable to do that at that time, so we have their award for them, but they all 3 received that award. So we're very, very thankful for that partnership.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, employee recognition.
This is presented to Rick Knudsen. The League of Kansas Municipality bestows the Certificate of Appreciation upon Rick Knudsen in recognition of their 10 years of contribution to the betterment of Kansas communities through loyal dedication and service to the city of Concordia. It says 10 years here, but the truth is Rick's been a volunteer and been involved with Concordia Fire and EMS for about 16 years now. He's one of our captains. He's an A&T. He saves the city a lot of money by doing some mechanical work because he's inclined, unlike some of the rest of us, to do that on the truck. So he helps out great. Comes in on transfers nights, and he's also the second investigator and stuff for us. So the dedication stuff he has to the department and what he gives to the community is just unrecognizable. And he's one of the ones, like I say, every time I'm up here, they make my job easy. So they do the work, and I just get to take the privilege of it. So it's a privilege working with them, and appreciate it.
Very good. Proclamation, great.
We've got a couple more.
Okay.
So I get to present this to Megan for 10 years of service, and she started a week maybe after I became clerk. We had 2 people working in the office between me and one other person, and it was a little hectic. And she stepped in, and things went a lot smoother since then. They're not perfect, obviously, you know that, but things went so much smoother with her here. Next week she'll be going to Wichita, and she'll be graduating from WSU's program for clerks at the Institute. And so I appreciate her here. She's been my deputy pretty much since day one. Appreciate her. And we do have 2 of them for Jared Leduc and Tim Halfide. They're 15 years, and they couldn't be here tonight.
And Rick?
Tonight, we also get to honor Rick Frederickson for 20 years of service to the community, and we really appreciate that. I've only gotten to work with him here a short amount of time, but in that time, I've grown to know his calm and confident leadership of the department. We saw that especially was helpful through the transition of the changes that we've had in PD here this summer. He fits in great with our department head team, really values all of his employees and tries to bring out the best in all of them, and really has a thought and a big heart for the community as a whole, both on and off duty. So I really appreciate his service, and looking forward to another 20 years.
We're done? Okay, proclamation, the Great Smokeout.
Thank you.
Thank you. How you doing?
Thanks for adding this onto the agenda this evening. I'm Denise Baumann, Director of Cardiopulmonary Department at Cloud County Health Center, and I'm just here to ask that the City of Concordia proclaim next Thursday, November 15th, as Great American Smokeout Day in the city. We have some activities going on, some restaurants that are going to be providing some cold turkey sandwiches for those that can quit the day as cold turkey, and then also if the pledges are completed and turned back in, the hospital will draw for 2 of those pledges to win a frozen cold turkey they can use for Thanksgiving. So, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
I'll read the proclamation. Whereas November 15th, 2018 has been designated the Great American Smokeout Day by the American Cancer Society. Whereas every year on the 3rd Thursday of November, smokers across the nation take part in the Great American Smokeout event. They may use the date to make a plan to quit, or they may plan to advance and quit smoking that day. The Great American Smokeout challenges people to stop using tobacco and helps people learn about the many tools that they can use to help them quit and stay quit. And whereas smoking is the single largest preventative cause of deaths in the world, accounting for more than 480,000 deaths each year, or about 1 in every 5 deaths. And whereas the Community Health Assessment Committee challenges smokers to sign a pledge to make a healthier life by picking November 15th as their quit day. And whereas Cloud County Health Center is challenging smokers to quit smoking cold turkey by designating November 15th as Cold Turkey Quit for the day and will draw for a frozen turkey if pledge completed. And whereas several restaurants in the community are commemorating the Great American Smokeout by offering turkey sandwiches and pledge forms November 15th. And now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Concordia, I do hereby proclaim November 15th, 2018, to be the Great American Smokeout Cold Turkey Day in the city of Concordia. Thank you. Okay, public comments.
I really appreciate this opportunity to share my concerns with you. I am Jeannie Keyser. I live in the 200 block on West 18th Street. I am very concerned about the safety of your residents and especially the children who are living on 18th Street. While our street improvement has been positive for the most part, our street is now like a racetrack. For speeding vehicles, many with very loud mufflers at all hours of the day and night. Most of the speeding vehicles come from the four-way stop at the corner of 18th and State, come down the hill past my home from west to east. I do appreciate your concerns, your consideration of our concerns with the addition of the speed monitor. I am very concerned about the safety of residents. Many, if not all of us, have to back out of our driveways onto 18th Street. And often those speeding vehicles come so fast that they are even hard to detect. And there are a large number of children that live on 18th Street and are often out playing in their front yards near the street. The loud speeding vehicles are disturbing, disrespectful, and irresponsible on the part of the drivers. We thank you for your consideration for our concerns. I do have a few suggestions. I don't know if you want to hear them. While I do think that the speed monitor, I don't know if it's done anything to reduce the speed of vehicles. It's still happening. One of my thoughts was the possibility of some kind of camera to record the traffic on the streets, or on the street. I'm not so sure. I don't have a really good view of the four-way stop at 18th and State, but I'm thinking that there are vehicles that are not stopping at those stop signs because of the amount of speed that they have. I live 3 houses down from the four-way stop, and by the time they get to my house and I hear them and I get up and I go try to look, they're gone. So I'm wondering about police patrol at that four-way stop. I mean, that's a suggestion. The other thing I thought about was the possibility of four-way stop signs at each of those intersections east. That would be Washington and, is it Broadway?
Yeah.
The next one. You know, if nothing else, having to stop at those intersections would get people, hopefully would get people used to driving 30 miles an hour or less, knowing that those stop signs were coming up. Thank you again. I do have a few descriptions of vehicles. I don't know if that would be beneficial to anyone, perhaps the police, but like I say, they come by, I'm guessing 50,
Maybe even more.
60 miles an hour.
It's just a streak of color.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. Do
Thank
you
you.
have anything else?
I do. I have a petition here that we had last time we talked. I've got more signatures. I tried to get out and get more today, but so many people work. But I did get 4 more, and I've talked to my neighbors and the homeowners on that street, and they're sick of it. They truly are. Because there are newspaper kids after school, and there are people on Halloween that were afraid for their children because they were out on the street. And the college kids were flying by them like they were not there.
Yeah.
But I do have more names. I was gonna get you more, and I'll present that.
So, is that who you think it is? It's college kids, or
It's
is it?
mostly college kids, yeah.
The first noises, or the loud mufflers that I hear are around 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm thinking that they are workers who are going to work because they're going from west to east, as opposed to going toward the college. And then I hear more,
I hear at 7:30,
yeah,
and also I hear at, I would say almost 12:30 in the afternoon.
lunchtime.
Right.
And then
they're
again,
going down to lunch.
after 4 o'clock, from 4 o'clock on in the afternoon.
I've even told the police, I've been at the station quite a bit, and they're right now on redial. But anyway, they can go and sit in my carport and catch those people. They said you can hide by the carport or hide inside. But I said, it's gotta stop, because somebody's gonna get killed. I really am concerned. And your sign, your blinking sign, some of those kids think that's a game. How fast can I really go? So they start out the hill, go down the hill, and by the time they get there, we have never ran out to get out and see what they were actually doing. But it's just a menace, just horrible. I just don't want anybody to get hurt for you guys to really think this is serious. So that's our concern.
Thank you
Thank
very
Appreciate
much.
it. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. How many of you know who I am? Seriously. I'm Gary Reynolds, commonly known as the Honey Man. I've been here in March of this next year, 45 years. I've lived in 3 different houses, 2 of them brand new that we built. I've lived in the last one 11 years over on Country Club Drive, and that's where what I'm bringing up, the situation with our road. That road gets patched maybe occasionally, very occasionally. We have holes. In fact, when I went to vote yesterday, one of my neighbor ladies said, be sure and bring us up too. We're concerned about where you turn off of 13th Street onto the Country Club Drive. There's a hole there in the middle. Now, if you know it's there, you pretty well will miss it. But invariably, my wife has a hard time of doing that. And then when you get down on the curve, that whoever is in charge of that area, as far as the city commission that takes care of overseeing that area, needs to be looking and checking that out. On that curve, I have to get clear over in the wrong lane. Of course, I know I'm watching ahead in case somebody might be coming, to miss the holes that are there. I built that house 12 years ago, and my wife and I have been living in it for over 11, almost 11 and a half years now. And nothing has really been done to that street except a little bit of patching here and there. And it's breaking off at different spots along the road there. And if you get over too close, you might have a problem of ending up over in the golf course. I've been in touch with Bill Garrison, our county commissioner, about what that street looks like actually on the county side of the street, because that's where the city limits comes down to. And I'm hoping to, and he said we've got us on, because I see him in church every Sunday, and we talk about it, and I keep reminding, he said, well, we've got it on the schedule there, because all along there, that has never been cleaned up in all the 11 years that I've lived out there. But that's why I've come here today, is we need to get something done to that street. It needs to be resurfaced completely, not just patched, but it needs to be completely resurfaced. That's the thing that needs to be done to it, and that's why I'm here, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
And not only that, I have brought in millions of dollars to this county and to this city through Rainbow Honey Farm, and I'm still in the honey business, and I will be in the business until I die. And I've been working with honeybees now for 56 years. And like I say, I put in 45 of those years right here in Concordia. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah. I can't get out of the chair very easily. Charles Johnson, and I really didn't come to say anything, but I'd like to give these ladies some moral support.
Oh, good.
I live over on Archer. It's a raceway up and down that street too, and even the people in some of Lambert's relation put up signs on the park to slow them down. But at usually about 11:30 to 12 o'clock at night, there are people coming home from work with loud mufflers. And one of them's a motorcycle, and I don't know the other one. I think it's a pickup. But I can hear them clear over to the highway when I'm in the house. And I don't know whether we don't have a noise ordinance, I guess. They always said we did when I was a kid and had a loud muffler. Anyway, I wanted to give them some moral support because there could be some more police protection, I guess, for speeding more than anything else. I had them come over when I was on the commission and check the speed on Archer. And they did one morning at 5 o'clock. Cop sat over there with a gun and checked the speed and said nobody was speeding from 5 till 6 a.m. So if you come back at different hours, you might catch different people too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charles.
Any other public comments?
After discussing with Justin and Amy, there's a public comment that was left. I would really encourage anyone that would make a public comment to be here in person. I understand the person that wrote this, addressing it to me, was not able to be here for reasons that are not pertinent at this point in time. But I would read this on behalf of Tracy Veneri. November 7, 2018, to whom it may concern. I was made aware of your study group about breeds of dogs that can be aggressive within city limits. There were 2 incidents in our neighborhood this summer regarding a Rottweiler that lives in our area. The dog is usually tied up in the backyard. There's a wooden fence along part of the property, but there is just a simple wire fence that separates my backyard and where the dog lives. He can easily jump it and did this summer. The neighbor across the street was mowing her lawn when he got out and backed her up onto the porch. Her porch, sorry. He would bark if she tried to walk onto her lawn where he was at. She called the police and they came and contacted the dog owner, who came and put him into the house. The second time the dog got out, my 15-year-old son was playing ball with our black lab and it came into our yard and attacked our dog. These same neighbors also have a pit bull and it came along as well, so there were 2 dogs going after my dog. Thankfully, my son thought quickly and began to hit the dog because the pit bull had our dog down while the Rottweiler was biting at it. After being hit several times and my son yelling, they both did leave the yard. 2 construction workers working across the street had heard the commotion and came over to check what was happening. They called the police. My main concern is the safety of the children in the neighborhood. My 9-year-old takes the dog out to use the bathroom or play, and the neighbors across the street have 2 small dogs that are in their yard, and they have a 6-year-old that is sometimes out in the yard with them. What if those smaller children were trying to protect the dogs and they got bit or attacked? As a parent, I shouldn't have to worry if my kids will get attacked or bit while playing in my own yard. We feel like we can't even tie our dog up outside in nice weather in case the dog gets loose. Thank you for allowing me to have input. Please contact me if you would like more information. And the phone number's here if we need to contact for more information. Signed, Tracy Benary.
Okay, any other public comments? Okay, if not, next on the agenda is discussion agenda, but there's no items in that category, so we'll move on. Action agenda. Approval of the minutes of October 17th, 2018.
Go ahead, Mark.
I move to approve the minutes of the October 17th, 2018 meeting.
I have a motion by Mark. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Chuck. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Approval of appropriation ordinance number 20.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 20.
A motion by Mark. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Christie. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approval to change the work comm provider Midwest Public Risk.
Hope you had time to read the memo. I think it was fairly thorough there. I did want to mention I can't remember what they call them, credits, some sort of credits. Some of the things that we've been able to use those for are hepatitis B vaccinations, the front office security out here with the door that you have to let people in, on our standing desk. And I think at this time, we have about 3,500 built up. We've had close to 5,000 before. They take a portion of our contributions and put them aside for us to use for things like that. So that's really nice. The contributions or the service credits from this would go into one big pot with our other, for our property and liability, not just for work comp. So we'd have one big pool to pick from on things like that. So that's been really nice. I've worked with Midwest Public Risk since we started with them around 12 or 13, and they've been the same people ever since then. They don't switch out. Very good to work with. Call them. There's always somebody, including the CEO, that'll just call back. In fact, I got a call from him the other day. So they're very accessible, and I really enjoy working with them. I think it'll be really smooth being able to have them handle the portion of sending them to the doctor. I really like that. So I don't know if you have any questions.
I always appreciate quality customer service, and I think that's an incredibly important aspect of a business. So knowing that it's been difficult to reach our previous provider, knowing how much success you've had in working with this recommended provider, and for
greater expense. I think it makes a lot of sense to make a change. It's nice to see competition
Yeah,
available.
absolutely.
Because a lot of times I know in my past, it's like, you're stuck.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, KMIT has been fine to work with. Now, instead of sending my claims to one particular person, I send it to a generic email, and then I hear back from that person, whoever read it on the other end. So it's different people every time. I'm sure that they would take my calls if I needed, but I like having that one rep that I can deal with.
Yeah.
Relationships are important.
Yeah.
Good job on the footwork, and it's just good business in what you did. So appreciate it.
Plus, we're seeing a savings,
Right.
Yes.
and that's, I mean, if you increase the service and the savings, I mean, that's a win-win.
I move to approve the change in workers' comp providers to Midwest Public Risk to begin coverage in 2019.
I have a motion from Mark, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Chuck, any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion passes.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you.
Approval of the pool family slide purchase.
All of the pictures, drawings, and detailed information was in the study session last time, so drawing from that, we're basically looking at the 8-foot family slide, at a cost of $65,000 base bid and $3,100 for the canopy. So $68,100, and then approximately $21,600 of installation. That was an estimate by Ron, and work with all the contractors that would be needed. So approximately $89,700. Do you have any questions on any of that?
No, this is a continuation of the whole project that
Yes.
was
and we-
approved.
Yep,
way
and
back.
it will be using the $2 fee as well as some funds from the Special Parks and Recreation Fund.
So just, I've had a lot of people ask me about this, and I think there's been some confusion as to this fee that was assessed to the water bills, and everyone I've been telling is $2, 3 years, we're done.
That is true.
I
And it
have
is coming
echoed
off
that, and
after
I've-
3 years.
So.
That is a fact.
So it's not that we're gonna go 3 years from now, and then next year it'll be 3 years from now. I've reinforced that, and thought it was appropriate to just make it as clear as I could for anyone who might be listening out there. $3, $2, 3 years, we're done.
And 1 year's almost done.
So I
That's how
believe
crafty those politicians are.
that puts us at the end of 2020, correct?
Right, 1 year's almost done.
Yep.
Yes.
So, this is all part of what we signed up for at the very beginning.
Yes.
Appreciate your work with this.
I move to authorize the city manager to sign the contract with Avalanche Water Slides for a pool, family slide, and canopy at a total cost of $68,100.
I have a motion from Christie, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Chuck, any further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign, motion passes. Approval of appointments to the Planning Commission.
Yeah, on November 1st, Dennis Smith, Cheryl New, Michael Gallagher's positions on the Planning Commission will expire. And we constantly advertise anymore in a bunch of things we do. So, you know, a couple of these are waiting for somebody to apply so they can get off. But they're all willing to serve again. And when at the time of this, we didn't have Mike's because it took a long way around to my office and we missed it. So. But he did turn it in time, and his part included in the deal. So I recommend we reappoint them all to another 3-year term.
I move to reappoint Cheryl New, Dennis Smith, and Mike Gallagher to the Planning Commission.
A motion from Mark, do I have a second?
Second?
A second from Christie, any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Reports, manager report.
Ron's out of the office for a few days, but he asked me to give you an update on the sidewalk curb and gutter project that's been going on this year. Recall earlier this year, the commissioners voted to add curb and gutters to the or add sidewalks to the existing curb and gutter program, and that's been really well received. So to summarize, for 2018, we had 37 estimates that were sent out to people who were interested in. Of those, 17 projects are complete, a total 269 yards of concrete at a cost of about $34,000 in material. The material is the part that the property owners pay to us, and then we provide the labor and the equipment to them at no charge. 10 of the projects we had to stop due to the timing here this year, and they'll be put off until next year. And then 10 projects, the owners decided not to do them after receiving the estimates. We already have 11 applications for 2019 as well. So for 2018, we did have a couple of very large projects, and so it took a little bit longer than what we would normally allocate for something like this, about 6 months. And recall that these are the same groups of folks in our streets department that take care of our streets. They're the same guys that go out and do snow removal, pick up limbs after storms, and clean out the gutters and stuff to keep water flowing where it needs to be through our storm sewer system. I am pleased to report that now that crew is back to focusing on street repair and maintenance, and so we just had, and Mr. Reynolds was up here talking about potholes. Our crews are back focusing on that, at least until the weather gets too cold to make that happen. So that is really good. Ron also wanted to share that installation of the snowflakes will begin next week. That usually takes about 5 days or so, and the goal is to have those up in time for before Thanksgiving. So when everybody's ready to start Christmas right after Thanksgiving, those are up and ready to go. Do want to thank the Christmas Lighting Committee for working hard to get, I think they refurbished 15 snowflakes this year with the funding that they had available. So that helps out a lot to make sure that those are lit. As far as my report goes, last night for the election, you probably saw the report that the Sunday sale of CMB and alcohol did pass as far as the unofficial vote count happened. The county clerk's office will be doing the canvassing of those election results next Tuesday, November 13th. After they finish the canvassing, that's when the results will be certified. Upon certification of those results, then the ordinance will take effect. The ordinance that you city commissioners passed in August allowing Sunday sales. So does that make sense, kind of the process that we follow?
Yep.
All right, so it should be after November 13th that would take effect if those results are certified. It was a close race, so we don't want to assume that it's done just yet, but we want to make sure that those results get finalized. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you.
Staff reports.
Amy asked me to just give you a brief update on a couple of things that had a list of demolition program houses. We had a condemnation there on 305 East 5th. It was a house that had burnt over a year ago, and you gave 90 days, remember, at the public hearing to either start the process or get a demo program application. Well, that house is sold. About 10 days ago, I got a call and it sold. The owner called me and said he sold it, and they said that the new owner intended to remove it and prepare the property for a new house. I haven't heard from the new owner yet, but the deadline at 90 days is next Tuesday, I believe. So hopefully they'll get a hold of me, and they didn't intend to get it on the demo program according to the old owner, but here's the deal. The way the state law reads on that, if that property changes hands anytime during the process has to start over. So hopefully I don't have to start over. So at least that's the way it was last time I checked. 435 East 2nd, it's a house we condemned down in floodplain. It's been taken down. The excavator's he'd be finishing up here in the next couple of days, so we'll probably be writing out a check to him pretty quick here. 321 West 3rd. Year ago, we released the demo program. We accepted them in the demo program, and this one has inspired us to require 60 days from the time we issue a permit to have it gone and done and cleaned up, because this one was there for over a year. It's done. You'll be getting an FYI on that. I think that's about a $2,600 return under the demo program on that. 428 East 11th had a fire last couple of months up by Mr. Schweihardt up on 11th and Spruce. I believe that one is going to have to be condemned. I've been sitting and waiting and seeing if somebody can come in, and I did talk to the owner when it first happened, and he kind of acted disinterested because he didn't have it insured. So I haven't heard from him since, and he's not responding. So I imagine that's a walkaway deal. But and I think we have city attorney looking into maybe attaching some costs to some other properties, and that's an option that's allowed by the state. But I think you have to do special things for that. 721 East 6th, another fire damaged house. I talked to the excavator today, and we did accept that into the demo program. He just hasn't come and got his permit yet, and it's been the weather, and plus he's had farm work to do with terraces and stuff. But I did talk to him today, and he intends to get to it within the next couple of weeks, so we'll help on that. 1003 Valley.
Yep.
Towed 3 vehicles off there yesterday. The owner came in and paid the fees and got them all back today. And put them on an industrial site, and he apparently was confused about where they could go when they came back out of impoundment. He said they're going to be 2 of them tagged and 1 in the body shop tomorrow, so we'll see. I gave him 1 more day. I told him if he put them anywhere in town illegal, I said I'd tow him again, but he paid there's over $300 to get them back. When I originally went by there, the deadline was Saturday on all our proper stuff. I went by there on Monday and I counted 7 vehicles that I could have towed Monday, and I didn't get to it in time. We didn't get the police coordinated because we were concerned with it, so I went there Tuesday. We got there Tuesday, and by that time 3 of the vehicles had been taken care of and gone. We towed 3 off of there.
Good.
And hopefully it doesn't come back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Staff?
Mayor and Commissioners, I was hoping the ladies were here to report that the traffic had calmed down up there, but when they were here the first time, I heard them loud and clear. We've had 2 day shift officers and 2 night shift officers randomly running radar up there in the area. We've written some tickets off the 4-way stop at 18th and State, but we're not catching any speeders. The speeds are generally from 27 to 30. There's an occasional 34. And I do agree with them. There's going to be some random ones when we're not around that are, probably doing high rates of speed with loud exhaust. But sooner or later we'll catch them. Mayor Sacco, you mentioned about a camera. I did find one online that I think I'm going to pursue because it does take video. It time and date stamps the time that they're speeding, and you can set it at a certain speed, and it'll show how fast they're going. So I think I'm going to pursue something like that.
That'd be good.
And that can be mounted on that speed sign that's there, or it can be mounted on a sign, period. But since they have the speed sign there, I think that'd be a good place to put it.
Question.
So,
Their idea of 4-way stop signs all the way through there, so people would have to stop it. Does that make sense to you?
I'd rather see like a reduction in the speed limit myself if they're gonna do anything.
The road itself serves as it's a main traffic way, so
Yes.
where to find the balance between making sure that it's safe and maintaining its function is I think what we're trying to achieve.
I think if I got that camera, I think that would really enlighten us because I could be there 24/7.
Yeah.
You could get a lot of information from that, so. And it
Can you
also-
write a ticket based on that?
Probably not, unless there's someone who could identify the driver.
Mm-hmm.
But we could definitely identify vehicles and make contact with people.
Yeah.
They get them knowing people's watching them, it's available.
Exactly.
And that might be enough right there.
I also wondered with that, that there'd be merit and whether that's with you or with Amy, contacting, I think it's just as likely as it's citizens as much as it is college students, but maybe working with some of the staff and student life to encourage safe driving around the community as a whole. Just kind of put a bug in their ear to try to pass it on to students. Certainly would want to reinforce the citizens. And I know that it's not just college kids that are driving on Archer, as Mr. Johnson says. It's And there are 3 signs back to back to back, and it doesn't matter whether kids are in the yard or not. I've been tempted to throw things at them, but I try to be a law-abiding citizen. I believe that would be something that I would be frowned upon if I were to do so, but maybe get a paintball gun out. But so I know that there are issues there, and you guys can't be everywhere all at the same time, but I think trying to just reinforce, not trying to ruin anybody's day, but like that, we don't want them to ruin anybody else's day.
That's true, yeah. We also had the complaints on the east side on 18th, and we have been stopping vehicles and writing warnings there, so we're catching them speeding there. But
I think with pursuing the camera would be a good thing, and I think also just a continued presence to whatever degree it makes sense for your force to, people get the hint that, like as not, there's gonna be an officer somewhere around, so I better just slow it down.
yeah. Right,
Thank you.
Is the speed limit posted on that street
Yes.
just once or each way, or? I went down the street and I
At
don't
least once,
remember.
I'd have to-
Yeah, okay.
In that block area where they're complaining.
Mhm, mhm.
Right.
Okay.
I know on Archer, there's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit posted probably just a little bit north of your place, and then there's a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit in the park zone, and then another 30. I mean, it's not a lack of signage.
No.
It may be on east.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think probably.
But-
On 18th, we have that flashing sign now,
Mhm,
so.
mhm.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, you did. It's right there.
Mhm.
Oh, you get a camera, it'll show you them not knowing.
I bet it's pretty
I
dumbfounding.
think the camera sounds like something to pursue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
camera not knowing.
Available.
Think it'd be good.
I will definitely pursue that, so thank you.
Thanks,
Rick.
Chief. Thank you.
Any other staff comments? Commissioners, Mark?
I have also had some people on 17th Street contact me and say that there's some speeding going on there, and that, it happens on 18th Street, but it also happens on 17th, and, I think they're both kind of wide streets, and people tend to want to buzz up them, and, I do have a genuine concern for the children and the residents, so, all efforts are appreciated. I also got, I don't like to use the word confronted, but I did have a group of ladies contact me the other day and say that they think it'd be neat, since there's electrical outlets at all of the little trees downtown, to put lights, like white lights, Twinkie lights or whatever in those trees, and you can put them on at different, just leave them in the trees all year round and turn them on at different times of the year. Certainly in the holidays it'd be nice, but I think it's a good idea. It might be a little work for somebody, but I certainly wouldn't want to say, let's put the lights up and take them down every year from every single one of those trees, but and I don't know if people would mess with them or not, but I think that if the lights could be left in the trees and not messed with, I think it might be a good idea.
Strands don't cost a whole lot.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And so, anyway, that's it.
First, to comment about the awards from OCCK to our fire department, EMS staff, and law enforcement staff. I'm not surprised to hear that. I'm very encouraged to hear that work has been recognized. I've worked with a number of populations that can be very, I think, challenging as a whole, but certainly challenging with their understanding of the law and the potential threats that may be going on, and how difficult it can be to know how to have the discretion to work with certain individuals with limited capacities. And I also know how much of a difference it can make when we have staff who understand some of the nuances with individuals with limited capacities, and how to make opportunities for cooperation as opposed to creating more and more difficulties. So I really appreciate any effort that you and your teams are working on to help foster that. I think that's fantastic. a question that I had kind of about the vehicles, and I drive by that house on Valley and drove by today and thought it looks better, but there's still 8 cars up there. And I know in Wichita they have an ordinance, and I wonder about this, that it was illegal to park anywhere that wasn't a marked driveway. And a driveway could be, it had to be, it couldn't just be a dirt path that had been worn. It had to be paved, gravel. It had to be specifically purposed as a driveway. And if it was not, then it would be a ticketable offense. And I wonder if that might help us as we work towards this. You know, I think ultimately taking pride in our communities, but it just doesn't look very good when you got a number of cars parked any which way on your lawn and saying, well, no, that's a driveway because you can see I drive up it all the time. Well, that's not a driveway. But I wonder if that might be another solution that would help, that would actually make it easier than trying to track down or just going around changing tags around, where playing leapfrog with city staff and just say, no, this is your driveway, any car is not parked here, and finding good ways to work with them on that. I fully support individuals who want to work on vehicles and take pride in doing things with their vehicles. That's certainly something, but to just store vehicles or have different cars jammed up every which way, just no
Well,
way.
that was kind of more of a commercial operation there than, zoning, some of it. Can't have an automotive repair shop in residential, zoning's there.
Yeah.
And that's basically what he's doing. He didn't have enough room in his shop, so it was going out to the outdoors, which tends to happen with these things over the years. And pretty soon the neighborhood starts.
Well, if he has so many cars as to require extra storage, I would imagine that business is going well, perhaps going well enough to be
We have
able to
a lot of
secure
rules about
additional.
parking in rear yards and creating new parking and surfacing of parking and things like that. Every time it tries to get enforced, then it's being too harsh, and can't we get away with gravel instead of concrete? And then we know Wichita also has a rule that you gotta pour 6 inches of concrete in the right of way. So, you know, so it stays there a while, so it's not all broken up and turns to junk. But in some areas like that one there in particular, there is no real rear yard. You know, it's either side or rear, and depending on, and since it's addressed on Valley, you know, so there's some time, you know, I don't know when you can draw the line. Now, there's also a rule if it's untagged or abandoned basically in the right of way, it's street right of way, which goes way up beyond the curb, you know, and we've, you know, been able to ticket people, you know, get them to move along there. And then we have rules about trailers parking for more than 2 hours unless it's associated with construction or something like that. But we really have no rule against 30 cars parking down the street as long as they're not parked illegally.
Yeah. I'm not one to just create an ordinance just for the sport of ordinance. I'd really much rather people take care of their own business than have to have it be forced upon them. So
These, like this one here, you know, they're, I don't wanna say extremely rare, but they are rare, but, you know, a couple times a year, maybe on a bad year, and once every year or two, we deal with an incredibly difficult situation where you have to just kind of prod along, poke and push and poke and threaten and push and poke, and then pretty soon push comes to shove and you gotta drop the hammer, and that's what happened. And I think he didn't take us serious until we towed him off of there.
Well, maybe that'll help. I just
And
know that
then he was cooperative.
your resources are limited, law enforcement resources are limited. We're trying to be the best stewards of our resources that we can be. It seems like anything we can do to streamline the process. I also had somebody tell me and I've driven by it and I've checked it for a couple weeks now. There's a trailer on East 9th Street. I think it's in the 500 block. It's on the south side of the street. It's kind of a pickup type trailer made into a trailer. And it's got a bunch of stuff in it. And the person that brought it to my attention said it's been there for about 3 to 4 months.
If it's along the curb, that's easy. I just go, hey, it takes a load off of me. But yeah, trailers, there is rules about that for being parked.
And it really does stick out for
Yeah.
traffic problems too.
And we get those occasionally, and it's like I tell people, I don't drive down every street every day, you know, I mean, sometimes you don't. I just got a report on some piles of concrete on an area of town and I haven't been to in 6 months, so. But, anyway, so.
Appreciate it, Brad. Thanks.
Anything else, Chuck?
I should say thank you to the citizens of Concordia who one reason or another, I guess trusted me to another term.
I campaigned like crazy for you.
Did you? I appreciate that, man. I'd be interested in knowing who the 21 write-in candidates would be. Maybe there's a potential opportunity for someone that would like to become involved in city government.
There was 21 write-ins against you?
Not necessarily against me, maybe they just really thought this other person would do a better job, and I'm not a person to say that they're wrong. But when we struggle so much to get involvement, where we continue to have the same people on the same committees over and over again, simply because there's not a, I've told several people, I really would like to think that I didn't have any competition because people think I'm just doing that good of a job. My greatest fear is that it's more about apathy and getting involved, and I think that one of the great things about living in a small community is the potential to get involved and really make a difference in our community, and to realize if, I think too many people think somebody else is gonna step up and do it for them. We're the people. We're the ones that step up and try to do things. We're the one that's gonna make this town happen, the people sitting in this room, the people that are taking an active role in our community, and we need all the help we can get. So I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to serve. I continue to be appreciative of that. I hope to be a good steward of this position, but would really welcome more people to get involved in helping build this community. Thank you, Sam.
Chris?
I don't have anything else.
I would like to thank the people, citizens of Concordia for putting on a great Fourth of July, Halloween for all the kids and all the neighborhoods. They put together events for them, the businesses downtown. It was really ran well, and I think the kids enjoyed it, and that's what Halloween's all about. And I thought the city did a real good job this year. Things got expanded in the whole thing, so that's all I have to say. Informational agenda, we have no items, so we'll skip that one. Executive session, nothing there. That's good. We will have a study session after we adjourn the meeting. If I have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I so move.
I have a
Second.
motion by Chris. Do you have a second? I have a second by Chuck. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. Motion, and we're into study session.